Data onboarding has been a time-consuming and manual process for too long. Between spreadsheet templates, writing custom scripts, and implementation services, getting data from a customer into your software takes a long time and costs a lot of money. It's a critical manual step in your customer's onboarding process, with no easy way to get it done. Until now. Flatfile's data onboarding platform automatically converts, validates, and maps all of your data into the specific format you need. In just a few clicks, customer data goes from messy and unorganized to validated and ready to use. With deployment options including no-code, you'll be set up in minutes. Need to collaborate with your customer? Don't email sensitive spreadsheets back and forth. Flatfile lets you invite your customer to a secure, real-time shared workspace. Now you can give your customers a seamless data onboarding experience and save hours doing it. Join the hundreds of businesses who use Flatfile to solve their data chaos and are focused on creating long-term value for their customers. Visit flatfile.com.
Thanks for tuning in to the Product-Led Festival. We really hope you're enjoying the summit so far because we've got even more insights heading your way. All sessions are designed to be interactive and give you the chance to engage with our panelists, so come ready to get involved with your questions and comments. For all things PLG, don't forget to check on the PLA memberships at productledalliance.com. Sit back and enjoy the next session.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Product-Led Festival. I'd like to give a warm welcome to our next speaker, Alessandro Festa, who is Senior Product Manager of AI and ML at SUSE. Welcome, Alessandro, and I will hand over to you.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. There you go. Okay, well, welcome everyone. I'm more than happy actually to be here. Actually, feel free to post question during the conversation and let me know how it goes. Today I will basically present a topic that really goes to my heart, that is actually how to foster innovation in enterprise companies, and mostly about what I learned over time, trying to bring innovation into the companies that I work with. So let me start with the slide immediately. So I'd like to start with this quote from Steve Jobs, not because it's Steve Jobs, everyone typically speaking about him, but actually because it really take catch my eyes when I saw it the first time. It was basically about innovation is these things that comes from people that meet in the hallways, calling each other really late at night with this new idea because they cannot really basically stop speaking about that. And then at some point, they literally have to share this idea with someone else and basically see what they think of, and etc. So when I see this quote, basically, I always start thinking about that. Actually, that is the core of innovation. Innovation comes from people. And these people has this need to know what the other thinks about their idea because they want to deliver it, because they want to do this idea. But that poses a lot of questions. And the question that I'm posing is mostly how do we bring innovation into companies, especially enterprise companies? Because enterprise companies are really complex, structured, and mature organization where actually bring new ideas is not that easy. But even further, is sometimes people struggle, especially product managers, struggle to find out these ideas. So here's my innovation framework that can be summarized in listen, evaluate, augment, structure, and transform. Actually, this is not really a framework per se, but it's also a way to explain how I will drive you through my experience and the example that I'm presenting there. So how do we bring innovation? Let's start from listen. And listen is actually a magnetic and strange things. It's a creative force. Listening allows you actually to discover things and to move toward. So how do we listen? Where are your ideas? That's the first question. Where are the ideas within your company? How do you track those ideas? Can you track those ideas? Because at the core of innovation, the first step will be always, how do we bring something new in an existing product, in a new product, as a new project? So here's an example. Example number one within the listen is digital transformation framework. Track one versus track two company. So what is track two and track two company? Well, with these terms, within SUSE, that is a company I work with, we try to identify two kinds of the same company. The track one company was in a very structured, very legacy kind of company where everything was set up starting from engineers and driven by engineers only. With track two, we try to transform the company in a more innovative, more agile organization where everybody can actually collaborate, everybody can bring his own ideas, and we can find a process to go there. And here's how the framework actually worked out in the Track 2 initiative within SUSE. And thank you to Jeannie White, actually. I don't know if she's within the admin list, but thank you to Jeannie White, that is the Director of Transformation Strategy, to let me share this process. Me and Jeannie worked on this for over a year, just to bring in there. So the process was pretty simple. Someone has an idea, we have to transform this idea in a two-page brief that we can present to upper management and to the stakeholders. We can transform from this two-page brief, we can transform it in a proof of concept. We need to validate the idea. And the proof of concept should be presented to someone, possibly a customer or a partner of ours. And from there, basically, try to mature from proof of concept up to the business validation. And the business validation would be a point where a customer would be willing actually to explore this idea as a potential product, or as a feature of the product, up to the minimal viable product. MVP would be where the actual customer would buy the product and process there through the proper launch of it. Now, the first problem was, how do we bring new ideas? And the question that were underlined can be summarized this way. First of all, are all employees represented? SUSE specifically is an engineer organization. We are the longest maintainer on the Linux kernel, one of the longest maintainers in the Linux kernel. We do infrastructure all the way in. But as any other organization, is not made by only engineers. So how I specifically as a PM, can be sure that all employees are represented, all employees actually can bring their ideas. Because most of them, they not necessarily have a technical background, and maybe they feel to be shy a little bit to present their own way of thinking about how the company could operate or what can bring on the market. Secondly, are they, engineers included, engaged up to the point they want to bring these ideas to us? And even if I have one, how do I present it to the company? What's the channel that I can use? So one of the main examples is what SUSE called the AQUIC. AQUIC is an hackathon, is a public hackathon that SUSE runs every year, where basically people can collaborate together as a team to present an idea. And this is an example that I presented my own ideas there to engage people from various departments and even partners, and try to do that. But this is not enough. And in fact, why we failed? Well, some of the mistakes we made was, once the new idea was brought, there was nobody ready to pick it up. We said in the previous slide, you get an idea, you need to create a two-page briefing that explains how do you deliver these ideas. But the problem is, who would build a minimal business case to validate the idea? Who has the knowledge to do that? Because anybody can bring it, but we need to have a process that says, here's the validation, in the initial validation of this. The second was, how do we recognize if this is a feature, a project, or a product? We need someone in the product management organization that is able to do that and is willing to do that. And third, how do we set up a team if this is something completely new? Also, another question was, once we define the minimal business case, how do we pass the other gates? And what are the other gates? Who lead the next step, basically? So we need to try to figure out that and to figure out those steps. And there was basically a try and fail process to understanding what were the groups that are represented there and how we can improve over time. It was really an agile process there. But we also succeed in many things. For example, once we start to bring this process in, we saw the employees started to see this as a transformational path toward a more agile company. Finally, we heard from people that they can say that my voice counts. Now I'm in marketing, I'm in sales, I'm in pre-sales, but I can come up and say, here's what I'm thinking we should do, and I will be listened. We collected more data points. It is super important as a product manager. It's true that we typically collect those data points from customers or from partners. We have tons of them. But what actually our employees think about them, what the pre-sales organization thinks about our products, what the engineers itself thinks about the products, these voices are unheard typically and need to be heard. So this is another way to come to them and say, you are listening, now tell me what you think we should do. Because I can then start ranking them and understanding how many people have more or less the same perception or the same ideas toward a certain product or certain features. And this actually allows us to map the employees' thinking, how much they are aligned with the company, how much they are aligned with the strategy. Finally, we made the light on where the process was stuck. As every enterprise company, one of the perceptions from employees is that they're slow, the process sometimes is too old, but we don't really figure out what's the bottleneck there. Setting up a Track2 initiative allows us basically to recognize those bottlenecks, to improve those bottlenecks, to understand where actually we need to figure out. For example, I was mentioning before, you have an idea, but the first thing is instead of going in the wild and try to do something with the idea, we can build a minimal business case that start to understand it first. Are there any other employees with the same ideas? Second, is this idea something that actually we can implement quickly because there's a market demand? Or if there's no market demand, how much we know about this idea, how much we are confident we can actually deliver it? But we also struggle a little bit. For example, I was mentioning before, how do I align ideas with the company strategy? This is a super important point because it's true that my voice counts, but sometimes collide with the leadership direction. We start to say to people, hey, now you can finally understanding and finally define what you want to do, but not necessarily what you want to like to do is what the company want to do. So we need to filter out, we need to understanding why eventually there's this trend in the company. And all our ideas are the same way. What if those are missing technical aspects or market understanding? I say that the overall rule was that anyone can actually share his train of thought, but not necessarily those people come from engineers or not necessarily come from the sales organization. So they either missing the technical aspect of the market understanding. So again, back to the idea of who take care of this. So with that in mind, we try to proceed and try to improve. And actually, we landed on the evaluate section. We started to listen, but we started to evaluate. And I'm using this great quote from Oscar de la Hoya, that everything that can be counted does not necessarily count, but everything that counts cannot necessarily be counted. What does it mean? Well, it means how do you build a minimal business case around an unknown subject? Maybe I bring something new, but there's no subject matter expert in the company. Nobody actually can help you out to build this business case. So how do you do that? How do you approach that? Because the first thing is, are all ideas worth the effort? And you don't really know that. So how do we approach the minimal business case? The underlying goal was to provide a rapid evaluation of the idea in the context of the company. You remember I just said, it's okay that everyone can share his own thought, but those ideas, those new concepts need to be aligned with the strategy of the company. So how we can rapid evaluation those ideas in the context of the company strategy and be sure that we select only those that actually fit the company or provides a new value for the company itself. So we identify four rules basically. Company alignment, That is, the idea is naturally aligned with the company strategy. Market evaluation. Is it well-known market topic? We should build X for the cloud market, for the cloud market episode or something like that. Sorry about the noise. My dog is actually do everything she can actually to destroy my house right now. Business demand can be actually partner or customer demanding these specific things. How many of them are out there? And context analysis. That is, how far is the idea from the company market? Give an example, a practical example of myself. I'm responsible for artificial intelligence initiative. Now, if you look at SUSE is not an AI company, it's an infrastructure company. So when SUSE decided to bring in AI within their company, the first problem was, how far is SUSE from the AI market? And actually came out that we were not that far, because in the end, we were focusing on the infrastructure artificial intelligence. That is actually, in the end, what we do since ever. So how we do that, and I try to create this slide actually to give you a sense of all the things that actually we went there. So first of all, is the idea naturally aligned with the company strategy? Yes, no. If yes, well, the natural next question would be, is the idea a well-known market topic? And finally, if the idea is well-known market topic, are any partner or customer that ask us about that? And again, if yes, is this idea far from the company market? Is it something that everyone is asking us, but is not our standard market? Well, if the answer is no, this is a common market for us, you already approved the idea, you move to the next step. Let's say the flow of this. Is the idea aligned with the company strategy? No. Is a well-known market? Yes. Are partners actually that demanding that? Yes. Is the idea far from the company market? No. We can still approve. Means we have just find out something new that maybe we don't know too much, but actually we can make. Finally, the big no there. That basically can be like things like, well, we know the market, but it's too far from us, or we know that, but nobody's asking for that, or even further, actually, we don't know anything about that. In those cases, you either go to reevaluate the idea later, or maybe postpone the idea to another time. And that actually leads you to the augment section. Augment means you need to improve even more. Now you got the idea, you have decided to approve that, and you need to move it, but you need to do even further job. And how you can do that? Building the minimal business case. Now we say, you just filter out all the unknown, and now you ended up with something that more or less you know, and more or less you want to have. But a good idea is just a good idea without a plan. So how do you do that? So what's inside the minimal business case? The first thing is what answer you have to solve when it comes to the idea. And on the right of this slide, you basically see the what, the why, the where, the how much, what if, and alternatives. This is really a logic progression in how do you explain in a minimal business case the idea. The first, the what is, this is the executive summary. Is a one-page definition of your idea, what we are going to do and why we're going to do it in a really simple sentences. This is really like a summary of your idea, or an abstract if you want an idea. Then you go there and you say, okay, first of all, why? This is the total addressable market of idea. This is what we see in the market. For example, I basically pose that again back in my market. If you bring any idea in the AI infrastructure market, how much is big the AI infrastructure market? And within the infrastructure market, how much is big that specific problem you're trying to solve with your idea? Then you describe the current opportunities. Where are those opportunities? Who is doing what? Where? Is there any known opportunities there? Then you go to the how. What's your train of thought how to make this idea reality? If this is a new project or product, or is a feature of an existing product, give me a context. Tell me what you think we should do in order to do that. This is not really a delivery plan. This is not yet a proposal of how to actually deliver in details. It's just a way to explain the upper management why we should do that. Then finally, the how much. Well, this is more on the product management side. It's more a deeper analysis on what potentially could be the revenue numbers and what could be potentially the investment request based on the understanding of the idea so far. And finally, two important things. One, if there's any risk associated that you can immediately spot. And the other one, is there any potential company of interest that is already doing that? For example, if this is not a feature but is a product, is there any company, any startup that potentially your company should evaluate as an alternative or should evaluate to a better understanding what is going there? And that actually leads you to the third part, that is the structure. So we said, you got an idea. Now that you got an idea, we filter out those that fit the company and those that actually are not really fitting there, or those that are completely out of scope. Now we build in the minimal business case in order to say, well, at this point, we can try to do these in 2-3 weeks' time. We can present the minimal business case so the upper management can take a decision upon it. And we ended up basically with those few things that actually can be proceeded there. And this is where you add the structure. And I'm using this quote from John von Neumann, actually, that actually explains perfectly the concept. Science as well as technology will in the near and in the further future increasingly turn from problems of intensity, substance, and energy to problems of structure, organization, information, and control. It's time to evolve the minimal business case into something more tangible and something that actually can be explained further. So, who is responsible for the process? You remember I said we started with the track 2, and it was a try and fail scenario where we try to make more agile a company and bring more innovation to the company. And through that, basically, we ended up in something that how we translate an idea in operative steps. And so we need to solve specific questions. Who built the business case every time? Is it based on idea, I will pick up someone to do that, or it is someone actually that is delegated to do this every time? Who owns the next steps? It's not just about product management. At some point, we will have to have marketing involved. We will have engineers involved. We will have many organizations involved. So who owns the next step? Who is responsible for those? Do we have something like a center of innovation, or we rely on existing teams? If so, how we delegate those teams, how we actually call those teams out to work on this idea, and how long it will take the process every time? Different idea, different timelines, different processes. And finally, how do we define failures? Because that's a super important part of this. The super important part of this is about if you start something new, and is super innovative, you have to be sure that you will recognize your failures. That means that you need to pull over the project at some point because you recognize that, unfortunately, it seemed like a good idea, but it takes too much time or too much effort, or there's many other reasons that you figure out that actually the project will never be successful. So that's a review of the current process, where the ideation comes from anyone. And then the define, prove, and sense and response is a closing loop, actually is an iterative loop between business and technologies. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the Track 2 initiative we were describing before, but the definition now is completely different because now we have the roles in place. And who are those roles? So let's see why we potentially will keep failing there. And those are the mistakes we want to avoid. First of all, no dedicated center of innovation. A center innovation is a set of people, is a tiger team of people that actually transform these ideas, not just in proof of concept, but they build a minimal business case, they evaluate that, they create a proof of concept, they show the proof of concept to stakeholders or to selected customers, they reevaluate, they feedback, and that's actually a sense of response. They understanding the how actually the idea is proceeding up to a point where they call out the failure or the success immediately. Try fast, fail fast. Existing teams are not clearly engaged. You have to set up, and this is what we are doing, you have to set up a strict process that said at each steps of the idea progression, we know who is responsible for what. For example, we open up a project as an idea, we will assign a certain number of engineers to work on this project. And at some point, we need to actually to grow the project in terms of consumption by the people. So in that case, that is where the marketing will come out to help us to spread the voice, and so on and so on. Finally, ideas are transformed to project without a product evaluation. This is super important things. This is up to the product manager. An idea is always great, but an idea needs to be translated in a product or in a feature of a product. That is why the minimal business case is super important in the process. This is why the product management is involved in this project, because otherwise it could be ended up to be a great engineer exercise, and that's it. And it will never be transformed in something that can generate revenue for the company. That is the end goal should be the end goal of every idea. So why we may succeed? Well, because you may get through this kind of framework. First, the most important one, employees start to see you as a transformational path toward a more agile company. This is what we said before. In the end, your goal to bring innovation in a company is that every voice counts, and you can collect more data points, and you can mark better the employees' sentiment. And you can have an unexpected feature or product may arise. You never know who can have the brilliant idea and the next new innovative idea within your company. But if you don't track those and you don't have those, then you will never know them. And finally, where eventually you can keep struggling. Again, this is exactly what I explained before. Are all ideas aligned with the company strategy, or are all ideas the same way? This is a really, really, really challenging part of it. So how do you solve that? Transform. That goes back basically what I was saying. Having a PM for innovation, or a PM dedicated to innovation, like myself, that actually bring the business case and understand if that is a new potential project, product, or it could be a new something completely different that can help out build the business case, and immediately delegate the right team and engage the right team to do so. And how this can be translated? Well, here's a beautiful example of the company I'm working with. Since January this year, we opened up a website where we represent the SUSE open source project. We have over 60 active projects tracked through that framework. That means an average of all new ideas every month. Everyone can bring his own ideas. Everyone can try out and reach out, for example, me, build with me the minimal business case, and toward doing that, try to create new project and new ideas there. Oh, I see a question in the meantime. What I'm going to do from Raul that says, at my organization, we have to provide a robust business case for new initiatives to get resources. Do you have any tips on how to prove value before something has been fully tested in the market? Yes, absolutely. That's the minimal business case. And that's actually one of the biggest problems that we have to face with the Track 2 initiative. The problem is that in the majority of organizations require a full business case in order to fund the resources. The problem is that when it comes to innovation and new ideas, it's not that easy actually to provide this robust and really strong business case. So that's, and I'm coming back a little bit to my slide just because I got there. This is why this is the structure that we find out works very well, because it works for both the minimal and the full business case. Explaining the why, the where, and the how is super important. The how explains how you're thinking to deliver this. The why and where tells you where is the market, but also tells the organization, I don't have yet all the details, but I can work them out while we are working the idea. I know there's a glimpse that says, for example, the total addressable market right now is X billion per year and growing at the growth rate of, 14%, but I don't have yet the details how much this idea can actually fit the story. I know it can fit, and these are how we can proceed. This is why we want to go to the proof of concept, because when we go there, we said, this is initial, we can prove it through the with selected customers or willing customers. And then we can see them actually that they react positively. And then we refine up to the point where we will have the full business case. So you don't have to fund everything, all the resources immediately. You have to fund a minimal part of the resources to start with and then grow over time. This way, if we fail, we will know immediately, and we didn't spend all the money or the resources we were expected, but just the minimal part of it. So finally, back to this, are there any alternatives? Well, and that's actually, if you think it's exactly like the minimal business case, are there any company that actually do this already and that we could look at? So we explore also alternatives to the process. One of the most well-known approaches there is, for example, the design sprint, the 5-day sprint. Here's what I find out personally. First of all, it works perfectly if you're in person, but it's really changing if remote. You need to be really structured, and the level of collaboration tend to decrease over time. Second, find customer willing to evaluate could be challenging, especially if you're a new PM or if your company doesn't have a specific, let's say, friendly customer that you can rely on. Because again, the idea could be something completely new. It could be an unexplored territory for you. Company executives may see this as an exposure of risk sometimes. Oh, you really want to spend 5 days in front of one of our best customers to present something that we don't know exactly if it ever be delivered? So show me the business case. It's back to the Raul questions. Project-only approach. Let's say engineers try how I call it. In most companies, the idea is, well, let's rely completely on engineers. Let them try out, open up project, try out new things, and etc. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, neither of them. Even the most successful project not necessarily become a product. That's why you need a product management in place. This is why product managers need to evaluate, first of all, the idea. Engineers are not the only voice. Doing that means people will keep feeling unrepresented in the company, and you will never discover new ideas. So those are two examples that I can bring on, but not necessarily wrong, are just another way to do that. And with that, because I think that we are almost in time there, well, I would say that thank you first of all for listening, but if you have any question, I'm more than happy actually to answer that. And again, apologize if you heard any noise here, but today my dog decided to participate to PLA Festival apparently.
Thanks, Alessandro. That was a great presentation. We've actually run out of time for Q&A at the end here, but Alessandro's LinkedIn is in the chat, so if you'd like to connect with him, follow that, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you sent us a few questions over there. Great. Well, thank you very much again, and thank you to everyone for tuning in, and stay with us for the next session in just over 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.